Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a bit different. We're not going to be talking as much about being a software engineer or tech or stuff like that, but rather I thought I'd make a video talking about what it's like to, be a software engineer in Silicon Valley. I figured it'd be a good video to make because I think some of you guys have, the goal of working in Silicon Valley or, working in the US or, one of those big companies like Microsoft, Amazon, or, Apple or whatever that is. And I thought I'd talk about what it's like to be a software engineer in Silicon Valley and in the thick of it, in one of the coolest places on earth, San Francisco, and really working for an awesome company like that. Now, I wasn't working at one of those big FAANG companies. I was in San Francisco working for a smaller startup, but I do think I got, I still got, a similar experience, and it was definitely beneficial for me. And I just wanted to give you guys more of an insight on what to expect once, you guys become software engineers and reach your goals and work in Silicon Valley or wherever it is you might want to work. So if you're new to the channel, what we do here is I talk about being a software engineer. I try to use my experiences to, help you guys out and help you achieve your goals of being a software engineer yourselves. And if you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. So let's get right into the video. So for me, I spent 1 year in San Francisco working there in 2018. It was actually just before my last year of college. I was doing an internship there, and I was lucky enough to, interview and work at a startup in Silicon Valley. And, as soon as I got the offer, I was like, okay, I have to go. Not only was the pay really, really good, but I figured it'd be an amazing experience to have. I had it in my head as a goal. I really want to work in the US, especially in Silicon Valley, because all I heard of, throughout my time in university was, Cali is the dream. Cali is where you got to go. It's where the best tech jobs are and all this kind of jazz. And, once I got the offer, I was like, okay, I have to take it. It's going to be an awesome experience. And I was also lucky enough to have a ton of friends that also went there to, work at different companies. And so it was really an amazing experience for me that really helped me grow as a software developer and as a person too. So like I said, I was an intern at a small startup. It was probably a company of like 30 people, something like that, pretty small. There was a lot of opportunities for growth and for learning if you were there to take them, and I definitely learned a lot. So from right off the bat, I had worked in a ton of places here in Toronto as well before that, and this was my first time working somewhere outside of Canada, right? So the first thing I realized, I spent a year there, and right off the bat, it started off slow, as you would expect, because not only was I an intern, but I was a brand new employee. So a couple of weeks were spent onboarding, learning the code base and just getting used to the position. And so once I started actually, getting into the thick of it and really working, as like a full-time developer, basically, I was treated no different than any other employee, even though I was an intern, which was great. I did realize from the bat that, there was a culture there of really working long hours and really having less of a work-life balance, but spending a lot of time in the office, a lot of time coding. And for me, that was a great experience. I loved it. I would spend, I would spend more than just the average 9 to 5 in the office. And this allowed me to, really, work with other developers more in depth. We really got to work, on a lot of different projects, and we spent a lot of time, fixing bugs, and I was learning a lot. So, it was a bit harder for me. There was a lot of, bugs in my code. I was still, learning. And so it would take me longer to complete certain assignments. And so staying late was definitely beneficial. But that being said, I don't know how I would have had, if I had had a family, for example, or, kids to take to practice after school or just stuff like that. I don't know how I would have done that had I, been working the same position, basically, right? Because a lot of people were staying late into the evening in the office, and it would have definitely been difficult if I had a family. However, obviously I don't have any kids. And so I have a lot of free time, barely any responsibilities. And so, for me, it was great. For an intern, it was awesome, staying in the office till 8, 9 p.m., really late, really, getting into the groove of coding. I really enjoyed it. But it was this was definitely something I realized, not only myself, a ton of my friends that were also working there. We would work late hours pretty often, and I kind of noticed that was the culture in Silicon Valley. All the tech workers, which was basically everyone, right? Everyone you would see was a software developer, and it was kind of overwhelming and kind of, not annoying, but you know, it was weird that like everyone was working in tech. Everyone you would see would just be a software developer. You'd be in line at a coffee shop, you'd hear people talking about code, and it was really surreal. And I guess being immersed in that kind of environment, that kind of atmosphere, really promotes your growth as a software developer. I think in the year I spent there, I learned way more than, you know, my entire college career in terms of coding, in terms of building my own self-confidence as a developer. And that's another thing I really wanted to talk about, right? The environment there was super tech focused. Everyone there it seemed like every single person you saw was a software engineer, and that kind of led to a good community of, you know, of people that were interested in technology, right? It seemed like other startups, a lot of like companies were communicating together, you know, sharing insights on, you know, how to succeed, different things to do, and really helping each other out. There was a community, and it was like everyone was trying to help each other succeed, which was pretty cool to see. It was kind of like Stack Overflow, but in real life. Like I met a ton of developers that would like that you could ask for advice, you know, people that were working at different companies you could talk to and, you know, ask like, okay, like what would you do in this situation, or kind of what kind of text are you using? Should I be using this for this kind of job? And it was really cool. I also got to meet a lot of, you know, really interesting people and go to a ton of conferences, which was pretty awesome. It's something I really haven't done in Toronto, and obviously not recently with, you know, everything going on, but there was a lot of conferences and a lot of opportunities to learn. So if you're, you know, if you ever find yourself in Silicon Valley, you know, and there's no like COVID or anything like that, definitely take advantage of all the conferences that there are, because there really are a ton, and it was a great experience. Also, you guys might have seen all these videos of, you know, a day in the life of a software engineer where people are, you know, in San Francisco, whatever it may be, and basically, you know, it seems like they go to work, they work for like an hour, and then they go go to like a petting zoo and, you know, pet rabbits for like 2 hours, then go to go work out on the rooftop, have lunch, work for like 30 minutes, and then have coffee and go home, right? Like that's kind of what you see in all these day in the life videos. They really make it seem a lot different than what the reality is. Trust me, that's not all you do, right? As a software engineer, you're not just having coffee and chilling with your coworkers. Now, that being said, there was a lot of that, you know, at the company I was at too. Even though it was a startup, there was a huge culture of doing different activities together, team building exercises. A lot of people hung out after work, and like, you know, you really try to build a family at the workplace. And that's kind of one thing I realized that wasn't being done here in Toronto. Now, what that led to, though, is, you know, obviously, you know, we'd be having fun, and, you know, all be hanging out together, and really the team would be getting closer. But what that led to, again, like I mentioned before, was that you're kind of at work for hours and hours on end. You're at work till like 8 or 9 p.m. And it could look good in these day in the life videos, but at the end of the day, it's like, am I really spending, you know, 13, 14 hours at work per day? It's like not really sustainable, and not really something that I'm interested in personally. I was kind of happy when I left, because I got to, you know, experience more of a laid back lifestyle, and I was really, you know, working a lot there. Now, one of the things you guys will probably experience when you work in Silicon Valley, or a similar place to that, is that the pay is higher. Obviously, it is higher. And what that naturally leads to is everything is very expensive, right? I'm sure you guys have probably heard of this, but, you know, everything was super expensive in San Francisco. I think that at one point I bought a cup of coffee for like $8 at Blue Bottle, which was like absolutely absurd. I do not know how they charge that. But everything's really expensive. The rent, you know, food, all that kind of stuff is super expensive. And that's because of like the higher salaries, right? So like expect that if you go and live there, that things are going to be significantly more expensive, but you are getting paid more. So, you know, there is a balance to that kind of stuff. Now, one of my favorite parts of working in Silicon Valley was, you know, the weather was unbelievable. I was in San Francisco, so it wasn't like, you know, 30 degrees all the time, but coming from Toronto, you know, I got to skip winter for a year, which was awesome. I didn't have any winter in 2018, which like I really was happy about that. And, you know, the beach was super close. There was amazing national parks. I went to Yosemite, and I got to go to Big Sur, all this kind of stuff. So guys, the nature in and around San Francisco, Silicon Valley, whatever you want to call it, is definitely something you have to go to if you are there. You know, it was probably the best experience of my life in terms of that. You know, I got to see things that I would never have imagined, and camp in these beautiful places with my friends. So if you are working there, I would 100% recommend, you know, going to Silicon Valley and going to Big Sur, Yosemite, go to all these national parks. It's absolutely unbelievable, and one of the best parts about working in that kind of place. The nature is just beautiful. Now one of the downsides that I experienced in San Francisco was, you know, the city itself was pretty dirty. There's tents in the sidewalks, homeless people in the streets. It really wasn't that pleasant to walk around. I don't want to sound like a douchebag, but like it just wasn't enjoyable for me. There was times at night where I didn't feel safe, and just it kind of just ruined the city. There was so much. It was so beautiful at times, but then you'd also see some like really sad stuff on the street. So I really didn't enjoy that, and that's kind of one of the bigger reasons why I decided not to go back to Silicon Valley and pursue my career there, was because I really didn't enjoy that part. Guys, if you're living in San Francisco, if you're living downtown, it's pretty gross. I'm not even gonna lie, and just definitely not enjoyable. And it really seems like nothing is being done about that at all. So one of the definite downsides that you will experience, guys, don't be surprised if you go to work in San Francisco or a place like that, it's really shocking. The situation, how gross it is, how dirty it is in the streets. And it's just a sad thing to see. So I just wanted to mention that for you guys, so you're not, surprised once you start working there. But all in all, guys, if you work in Silicon Valley, definitely take advantage of all the different companies you have, all the different resources, all the people that are willing to, have a talk with you, all the different companies that, do lunch and learns and that you can learn from. There was like a conference every other day. So if you're really into some sort of technology, I guarantee you that you'll be able to learn more about that in a place like Silicon Valley. And it really is a place where you can grow and like 10x your learning as a software developer if you put in the time. Now, you will have to sacrifice your work-life balance. I'm pretty sure you'll have to do that if you're working there, but it's like risk and reward, right? You're going to be working a lot, but you're going to be learning a lot too, and you're going to realize at the end of your time there that you've made a ton of money, you've learned so much, and you're really ready to take your career to that next level, which is what happened to me. I came out of there super confident and super excited about technology, and what the next project I'm going to work on, which is really all you can ask for, right, from any kind of experience in your life. So guys, if you want to experience a really hard-working atmosphere, an environment that encourages growth and really make some more money, I would definitely recommend working there. Now, obviously, I'm saying all these things, but it's pretty hard to, get a job in Silicon Valley, right? Getting a job there is definitely one of the harder things that you can do. And it all ties back to, if you're starting off right now, if you're just learning how to code and you really have an end goal of like working at Apple, it's Silicon Valley, and you want that to be your goal, guys, you have to stay disciplined, you have to stay focused. And if you're just at the beginning of your career, I've made some videos talking about this just now, work on some side projects. Make sure your resume is amazing, put those side projects on there, use the resume template kit I have in my link below. It's a great resource for building a great resume for software engineers. And guys, the experience is what you make of it. So if that's your goal, go for it. I completely encourage it. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit different, but let me know if you like this kind of content. I try to give you guys like a realistic experience of what it's like to work in San Francisco. I tried to not filter anything and just basically give it to you as it was. Learned a lot, but worked a lot, really had fun when I had free time, going to national parks. It was amazing, beautiful nature, and the city itself, not that nice, San Francisco. So yeah, if you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below if there's anything you disagree with, anything you think I missed or you want to add. Feel free to click the notification bell as well so you get a notification every time I post a new video. And as always, guys, have a good day and enjoy your coding. Take it easy.